Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and welcome to my daily 5 p.m. video. Thank you for tuning in. Now, if you want a chance to win some silver, click subscribe, click the link in the description. It's my current giveaway entry video. Good luck everybody. Now, this is not a political video to any extent. I don't care if you're left, right, up, down. This video is talking about Donald Trump and silver, and more specifically silver, because he posted a tweet talking about silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet. It's been money for all of human history, and yet it sits here at $16.50 an ounce. Sad. Now, this sparked a lot of controversy. That was tweeted several years ago, but that's not the point. The point is that he says silver. Now, like I said, this is not a political video. I don't care what you think about this guy. I don't care about any of that. This video is talking about precious metals. This video is talking about silver. So with that said, let's jump into this. So I found a couple of articles. I did a little digging since I always remembered that tweet, and I wanted to see what he's talking about. We've seen the pictures of him, signing gold bars. Obviously, he's a precious metals fan. He owns the land at Atmex, right? He's invested into the land that Atmex sits on, right? And that's pretty relevant. That explains a lot for itself. So the link to these two articles will be in the description. Let's go into this. So these are in quotations. There is no such thing as a global anthem, a global currency, or a global flag. Now, I would say a global currency would definitely be precious metals, but anyway, so President Trump has made it out for the dollar since day one. A strong greenback. This infers with his plan to make America great again, especially with China's currency devaluation in response to tit-for-tat trade war. Since Trump took office, he's been uncharacteristically vocal about the dollar and the Fed policy for an American president, and his words and actions have proven highly influential on the currency's performance. So, with the trade deficit with China at record highs, could President Trump soon pull the trigger on the dollar's long-planned downfall? See why this gold bug president may be signaling that now is your best time to buy gold and silver before the price skyrockets. Now, there's also something else that definitely sparked the idea of this video, because I was thinking about the gold standard, right? Could we go back to the gold standard? Obviously not. And then I remembered that Donald Trump made a joke about bringing back the gold standard. Now, the joke was, I'll show it in a second, but he's talking about how things would be so good if we brought back the gold standard, but obviously that's not possible. We're too deep in the hole, right? We are way too deep in the hole. There's no solution. There's only an alternative, and the alternative is precious metals. And even he knows that. Everyone knows that. Anyone who's an investor or understands, economics knows that precious metals is the only answer. Now let's look. I want to find that tweet where he says that. Let me see. It's somewhere in here. Let's look. Okay. Here we go. It's right here. So this is what he talks about. So he says, and this was with an interview in GQ in 2016. So he says, bringing back the gold standard would be very hard to do, but boy, would it be wonderful. We'd have a standard on which to base our money. And yes, I mean, as soon as we got rid of the gold standard, look what happened, right? If you ever see a chart of the timing, as soon as our money was backed by absolutely nothing more than hope and faith itself, everything collapsed. So I want to go back to this first article. So, is the president preparing to drive the dollar down? So the U.S. administration is engaged in what we have called a cold currency war, and it is winning. So since the president controls the exchange stabilization fund, all he has to do is weaken the dollar, and that's given his order. However, Rather than directly intervening in the currency markets, the Trump administration has undermined the dollar strength with words and covert actions. And I would say, and this is not a political statement, right? I don't care if you're left, right, up, down, sideways, backwards. Joe Biden is actually pushing the dollar down a lot more than Trump is. And that's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's not saying I like someone else better than the other person. Whether you are candidate A, B, C, or D, E, F, G that wanted to win the election, everyone had to throw out that $1 trillion stimulus word. And that's a fact, right? Even though every candidate knew that throwing out that $1 trillion stimulus word was going to put us in a very dangerous, severe situation, with our financial, with the financial markets. We still had to do it. What are you going to tell the people? Oh, sorry, our dollar's too weak. We can't throw out, we can't give you money for food, water, and shelter because we don't want to collapse the dollar because we're actually broke. No, we couldn't say that. We have to give it out regardless. It's like a dog backed in the corner. But Joe Biden is excessively spending this, and that's not an opinion. That's not me saying that I don't. It's just a fact, right? There's excessive spending, and it's definitely putting us in a dangerous situation, especially since the USD is the world's reserve currency. Everyone on the planet, every country relies on the dollar's strength, and the dollar's collapsing, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, that's not a theory. The dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, original purchasing power, 98%, not 99%, not 97%. 98% is a factual and literal number, 44% in the last 20 years. So it's rapidly getting worse. The only reason the United States is the richest country, the wealthiest country, is because we own the most gold. It's the only reason. We own the most gold. And yes, we're determining a country's wealth off of how much gold they have, not how much money they print off. So let's apply that same principle to a person-to-person basis. Think about that. So, following Trump's presidential victory in 2016, the greenback jumped to a 13-year high amid market expectations of a stronger economy, effectively throwing a wrench in his plan. And of course, when the greenback jumped, what do you think happened to gold and silver? Gold and silver collapsed. I mean, and it didn't really collapse because I remember the July 2016 high of $21 silver. That's when silver did break above $21, but then went back down. I remember I was making YouTube videos back then. It's crazy to think about. I've been making YouTube videos for you guys. Even back in 2016, I remember when silver broke above $21 or broke above $20 period. We were all so excited. I was making so many videos talking about what this meant, how substantial this was. It's just crazy that I'm still doing this, from 2016 all the way to now, 5 years later, still at it. So anyways, so here's some of his dollar comments in 2017. So our companies can't compete with Chinese companies now because our currency is too strong and it's killing us. So I think our dollar is getting too strong, and partially that's my fault because people have confidence in me, but that's hurting. Well, ultimately, that ultimately will hurt. So less than 15 minutes after his comments, the U.S. dollar index, which measures the greenback, fell 0.5%. Now, that's important right here. That's an important thing to consider and to realize. 15 minutes after he says that, the dollar index fell 0.5%. Now, think about that. That's not ironic. That's not coincidence. So, we have to incorporate that with our strategy, right? Because if he can say that about something like the dollar index, imagine what that would do if he mentions gold or silver. Look at Elon Musk, same situation. Elon Musk tweeted out 4 letters on Twitter, DOGE, and shot Dogecoin up thousands of %. It went from not even a penny, not even 1 penny, all the way up to nearly what was it, like 60 cents? Maybe even did it go? Something crazy. But that's just that's just the truth. The influential people like that are on a global platform, they can drastically, and I mean drastically, influence the price of something. That's also why Elon Musk probably isn't talking about silver. He's mentioned gold and Bitcoin, which obviously he's a smart guy. He doesn't want, you used to be able to buy a Tesla with Bitcoin until he basically, bashed Bitcoin and said it's using up too much mining stuff with the GPU and but regardless, he has an influence on assets prices. Now, Elon Musk obviously doesn't want to talk about silver because he owns Tesla and SpaceX, which require a lot, and I mean a lot of silver. So if he talks about silver right now, it would shoot the price of silver up and his cost of production would go through the roof. Mike Maloney wrote a personal letter to Elon Musk, and Elon even responded. Mike was talking about silver, how many billions of dollars that he would save if he bought silver right now. But even if he would be doing it under the rug. Elon Musk would never admit silver because silver revolves around everything he's invested in, and he knows what's up. He's a genius. He knows about economics. He knows about this stuff. It's not like he's just oblivious to silver. He knows, but he's not going to talk about it. So, how much did the president's comments about the dollar in the first half of 2017 impact the performance? Well, pretty drastically, you could see. So let's look at his dollar comments in 2018. Obviously, and he says, obviously a weaker dollar is good for us as it relates to trade and opportunities. Oh, that's said Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin in his reports at the press conference at the World Economic Forums. Setting off a 2-day decline in the value of the dollar. It was the worst dollar sell-off in 10 months. So, anyways, let's keep on going. And the whole point of this video, is to show that the dollar obviously has a direct negative correlation to gold and silver, but also how influential the prices of precious metals can be with influential people, and especially with someone like Trump, who has talked about gold, and if he does, and if he will talk about silver, along with Elon Musk as well. And this is something important to look at, folks. There's a lot of speculation, and you guys know I hate that word. Speculation and silver should never be used in the same sentence. Never. Silver goes off, and precious metals in general, goes off fundamental supply and demand. But nowadays, we are seeing this S word start to be incorporated with silver. And we can kick and scream, we can cry about it, or we can adjust and adapt accordingly, right? Because no matter if we love it or hate it, our opinion isn't going to do anything. That's why emotional investment, being emotionally attached is so dangerous. All we can do is look at it for what it is, learn how to use this to our advantage, right? Investors make strategic decisions. We don't kick and scream and then wish something could go this way, because that's just distracting us from making a successful strategy. So while it's clear that President Trump has been able to sway the markets with his mere dollar comments alone, he has taken covert action to suppress the currency's value. So then it goes into the problem with the strong dollar, which might be a little interesting to look at real quick. So a monetary based on reserve currency is unsustainable, and it's talking about the USD being the world's reserve currency. So in other words, the increase in the dollar, or in the official dollar reserves, equals the net exports of the rest of the world, which means it must also equal U.S. international payment deficits, which is an unsustainable situation. As long as the dollar serves as the world's reserve currency, the United States will be plagued by a trade deficit. So, one, continue to use protectionist to trade policies and criticize the dollar in an effort to reduce the trade deficit. Two, covert International Monetary Fund and a world central bank issuing paper reserves. And three, create a modernized international gold standard, We all know the president is a gold bug, so option 3 isn't really that far-fetched now, is it? Well, and then it goes into his tweet talking about the gold standard. President Trump has been just about as vocal about his love as gold as his disapproval of a strong dollar. In fact, he even mused about how great a return of the gold standard would be. Now, obviously, this article is taking it too literal, leaving out a lot of context that it is kind of a joke, right? He said bringing back the gold standard would be very hard to do, but boy, it would be wonderful. We'd have a standard on which to base our money. Now, while the statement had maybe been wishful thinking, it's clear the president is partial to the yellow metal. Financial statements Trump was required to release said he's running for the nation's highest office, revealed he owns between 100,000 and 200,000 in gold bullion. And how much of that you think is silver? His holdings of gold securities in his portfolio, almost $90 million. He even authorized a Trump organization to accept $176,000 worth of gold bars as a security deposit from a new tenant. So there is one reason why he might primarily be investing into gold. One, gold is money, especially considered to banks, but also, which is a main point why I also say that gold can be beneficial. You can fit $100,000 worth of gold in a shoebox. Imagine how much storage space you would need for $100,000 worth of silver, right? Gold is a great investment for someone who's heavily, and I mean heavily, invested into precious metals. You should probably go the gold route. So right now is the prime opportunity for investors to buy gold. So obviously it's looking at the dollar index in precious metals. You could see it's literally a negative direct correlation, and I mean almost to a T. So let's look at this. So yeah, I mean, erratic Trump prompts investors to seek safety in silver and gold. I also thought that was a very interesting article because they also mention silver, but I want to see where this is headed. So scary silver linings. Silver was up more than 13% year to date, and it's not just as a sanctuary move. Lombardi said each Tomahawk missile contains 15 kilograms of silver wire batteries, meaning that 59, I can't say these words in my video, would just leave the algorithm, would not even be shown. And that's also why I can't talk about COV, or I can't say that word. It's sad that you have to kind of be silenced like that, but it's how it is. But anyways, yes, silver is a precious metal that investors often flock to along gold in times of uncertainty. But silver is also used in aerospace and defense sectors that a lot more silver could be needed if we went to, So if that is a statement from him, that is very interesting. I want to see if it is actually, though. Let's look. I don't know if that is. I don't know. They're making it seem like that's what he said, but these articles, they use buzzwords and they don't really show context. Yeah, I mean, you can't really tell. So maybe that's what he says. They're acting like that is what he said in quotations. But regardless, I mean, it's true. And I definitely think these are things that expose a lot. They speak for itself, right? This stuff speaks for itself. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what you think about this. Remember, I don't care if you're left, right, up, down, front, center, backwards, sideways, crooked. I don't care. All I care about is precious metals and what affects the price and how the price could be affected and what might happen about that. That's all I care about. I want this to be a strictly precious metals video. Please leave politics out of the comment section. It's a very touchy subject alongside with religion, and I don't want any of that, because this is an investing channel. This is an investing channel. But when we're talking about specific people investing into the things that we specify on, I still want to cover it, but I just really want you guys to understand that, there's no place for politics on this channel. So anyways, the link to these 2 articles will be in the description. If you want a chance to win some silver, I'm picking 2 winners. I highly suggest you click subscribe, go to the link in the description, and enter the 47K giveaway. With that said, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.